Thank you for tuning in today. Episode 2, Power versus Force, and everything situated. I love this new time, man, because now we have a little more daylight, a little more time to vibe. Where your energy at, get things situated. Yeah, I want to start at 7 o'clock, so at least I turn on and get it situated. So I had a baseball game, so I'm running a little late, but we here. Waiting on everybody to come. They will be here soon. Give you a panoramic view. You can come join me in person. We got room, we got seat. Come vibe, come see. We here. We got room outside office. So today, what we're speaking about, we're finishing chapter 4 from page 113 to 116. And what that's in detail of is breaking down the different patterns of the different levels of energy that a lot of time that we're on and we don't realize it and how it affects us. So what this does is what I'm in the process of doing is helping you raise the process of raising your consciousness awareness, understanding actually what you are at your essence, at divinity's core. Okay. You feel more people log in. Mm-hmm. Live and local. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody tuning and tapping in right now. That is awesome. You're gonna get this thing rocking and rolling. Power versus force, the hidden determinant of human behavior. Why are we doing what we are doing? Understand that from the whole, from the core. Let me see who with us right now. Somebody giving us a hearts already. Okay, you leave your comments. Give me time to scroll back through. I'm solo dolo right now, so okay. I'm with you on Facebook. Thank you for joining. I mean, I'll probably YouTube. I'm here. Yeah. So give me your feedback. Let me see who's in the guest room here. All right. So yes, man, this book was very powerful for me because it was able to help me see what was going on separate from myself. Because the illusion of our traumatic side or that belief that we are traumatized, that we buy into lower vibration systems. We start to believe that I am my mind. I realize that we have a mind. So what we're speaking about today is helping you on a vibrational level where you want to maintain your thoughts. What do you want to maintain your awareness? Because we can be conscious, but where's your awareness at? What is it activating within myself? A lot of situations we're having is abandonment issues. They're playing out in dysfunctional relationships because the number one relationship we have is dysfunction within ourselves because that abandonment that we have, it activates something else that we said we never want to feel again. Oh, you close that sliding glass door for me, please? Can you bring my water freezer for me also? So me with my abandonment issue, a lot of people say, yeah, coach, I think you have an issue with relationship. I do, but it's not from a woman. The relationship thing, the relationship I have an issue with. One second, clean the lens here. So you can feel me. So yes, they are accurate. The relationship I had an issue with that I'm steady, not saying running from, but healing from. It came from my great grandfather down all of a sudden when I was 8 years old playing for Western Tigers here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Oh, I'm a little parched. So when my grandfather passed, I was 8 years old. I was born in '73. So 8 years from that, I was like 81. You follow me? Like 81, my grandfather passed all of a sudden, and the emotional and the hurt that I felt within my heart, I cried for 3 days. A 9-year-old child crying for 3 days over someone who's just been taken out of his life. As us as the melanated community, we don't speak about death. It's like taboo. We don't speak about it. So I had no idea what was happening, and he was ripped out of my life. So that affected me. So from a 9-year-old child saying, I don't want to feel that hurt and pain no more. Anytime a male or a female gets too close to me and I feel that emotion, how I felt my granddaddy passed, I'm gonna back up because I didn't realize when he passed, even though it was a natural cause from a heart attack, it was ripped from me all of a sudden. Namaste, God. What's up, Salima? It was ripped. He was ripped from me. So that was the first functional relationship that threw me off when my great grandfather passing all of a sudden. So that gave me relationship issues. So it's not like I'm running from it, but if I'm healed and I'm got trauma that I haven't helped with or even acknowledged, how can I be a functioning person for myself and anybody else? It's not gonna work that way. So I had to understand through a relationship that probably might have been 10 years ago now. It still had residue because when she left me sporadically, it activated what I was going through with my grandfather at 9 years old. So it seemed like a relationship should heal, but if you're traumatized and if someone in your family has left you abruptly in your relationship and they leave you abruptly, that same energy that you deactivated said you didn't want to feel that way, it will be activated when that certain person does that. Now, we take a person as if they did something to us. I had to recontextualize that. They were doing something for me to recognize what I had in me that I deactivated, that I didn't quite deal with. So this book, Power versus Force, right here, it helps break down each emotion that we're feeling and why it keeps us tied to it emotionally. So without further ado, what we left off from last week was we were speaking about joy. Now joy resonates at 540. Remember, this is a quick recap. Quick recap. Our consciousness level starts at level 20, which is shame. And it elevates 30 is guilt. We got 50 is apathy. 75 is grief. 100 is fear. 125 is desire. 150 is anger. 175 is pride. That's why I call it foolish pride because that vibration is under 200. We want to stay above 200. At energy level 200, we get courage. So remember, we want to stay above 200. So above 200 is 250, which is neutrality. I can go up or down. We have 310, which is willingness. We have 350, which is acceptance. Accepting. We have to accept what's going on in order to heal and grow from it. What's the name again? It's called Power versus Force. David R. Hawkins. This for Selena. David R. Hawkins. David R. Power versus Force. A lot of times we use force and we actually should just sit in our power. So this gives us a clear cut example of what it looks like. Because I know I see in pictures and I'm quite sure you see in pictures too. So if you sit down and read what 540 represents. So if we look at 500, which is love, right? Most people, it says only 4% of the world population ever reaches this level of the evolution of consciousness, right? That's reasoning because we have a large part of our brain like mathematics. What's the solution to it? And that's if I don't have the solution to it, I can't move forward. That's reasoning. And only 0.4% ever reach the level of unconditional love at 540 because unconditional love at 540, which is joy, joy comes from the inside, not on the outside. So most times we were we were conditioned to think we need something outside of ourselves to complete us. That's the illusion. But joy is As love becomes more and more unconditional, it begins to be experienced as inner joy. As love becomes more and more unconditional, it begins to be experienced as inner joy on the inside. This is not the sudden joy of a pleasurable turn of events. It's a constant accompaniment of the activities that joy arises. Remember, it comes from the inside, it's not outside. So we have to raise our consciousness level to understand actually what we're doing here and what's the purpose. Is to it, this we're going through the process to raise our consciousness, to become a lot more aware. We want to have the consciousness of awareness. So let me see what's else important here. And this will help me. Near-death experiences characteristically transformative in their effect. Have frequently allowed people to experience the energy level of 540 to 600. Because all of a sudden, when we think our life is about to end, us as humans, we evolve. When we think we're about to come on the brink of extinction, we evolve because we have to feel like something's in jeopardy for us to evolve and change. I don't know why, but it is. Us, if we learn to keep the attitude of gratitude and be very appreciative of what's going on, it's a different energy. Because if we are in desire, if we're always desiring something, always looking forward for something else, that's the act of an untrained mind. An untrained mind is always projecting toward the next second. When we learn to train our mind, become a lot more aware, we're not longing for the next second. We're being present in this moment because this moment is enough. When we begin to embrace the inner joy, we become we become our own source of inner forgiveness, inner acceptance, love, and appreciation. When we give it to ourselves, then we're able to give it to others. So joy. So we got at 540. So at 600, let me make sure I'm not skipping nothing. Hmm. So joy resonates at 600. So the energy field associated with experience designed by such terms and transcendental self-realization of God consciousness. Once I realized that God was within, it changed it changed the way I walked. It changed the way I looked at myself. I was able to change the way I breathe. I was able to rewire my mind and connect with higher frequencies. This book also speaks about genius. Most times we speak about a genius based on his IQ, but a real genius is someone able to pose a question and sit and wait and connect with a higher attractor energy pattern to allow you to see the answer. It's revealed to you. It's in harmonics. Most times, musicians or I see a certain tattoo or picture, it comes to me in my mind as an image. Now, I have the beautiful task of taking something that's invisible within my mind that makes plenty of sense to me and make it relevant to other people to see it as well. But if our crown chakra isn't clear, we have no intuition, we don't have clarity. If our third eye is closed up, we have none of that stuff going on. So it has to heal from within. Look on the inside. So joy is extremely rare. When this state is reached, the distinction between subject and object appears. Remember, the subject and object appears as a duality. We're not dual. We're not separated. That's what throws us off. We think that we're a separate entity. Oh, I'm this and I'm no. We're complete. Everything happens within love, which is that formlessness that was here to form us. That's before light, before time, and before gravity. All of that stuff is what I'm speaking about. The formlessness that was here to form us. So if something was formless to form us, it had to be here before time, right? So that's what we're connecting with from within. So if you come from that, hmm, the essence is still you. Let's take for example, we have a pie. The pie is whole before we cut it. Once we cut that pie and take that pie away, that piece is still part of the whole. It's not a separate. It's just not with the whole, so it's not lacking nothing. It's just a separate piece that came from the whole. The same thing with that invisible form. Everything, even the lower vibration, even so-called Lucifer, came from that lower vibration. Nothing can live outside of that. And once we are able to digest that and go outside the system of the ego, this is so important. If we see something that's that's outside the limits of the ego system, it would deny it as if it never happened. You would have a wonderful phenomenon happen, but if your system was based on the ego, is very limited, it can't reference that. It's gonna soon. It's gonna make a reason for why that truly happened. You can't see divinity at work. You can't see awareness unfolding in front of you because your mind is still trapped in that lower vibration system, what we call the ego, what we call trauma, what we call any thought that's below 200 degree, 200 of energy level below 200. Let me finish reading piece. Not uncommonly, individuals at this level remove themselves from the world as the state of bliss that ensues precludes ordinary activities. Now a lot of people go in the woods and just a lot of energy. It's the blissness that comes from within. Like you, when I allow myself to this energy, I don't want for nothing. I don't. I'm in love. I'm with the formlessness. What else do I need? I know who I'm with, so I have put no energy on who is against me because everything has to be within love. That's power. Most times we're trying to push too hard. That's force. That's why we're going to speak about the power pattern in human attitude because our attitude is most times not a gratitude, it's a fear, it's a despair, it's a hopelessness. If we have an attitude of gratitude and keep that energy level above 200, your brain can also reset. Instead of it using you, you can use it to maintain a higher level. Let's finish reading. Um, where were we? Where were we? Any questions? Any comments? I don't want to breeze through this. Let me check what's going on here. You see, make sure I got any feedback here. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Perfect. 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 But this right here might be something new to you. So if it's I'm not gonna say not resonating, but if it might because we have new information, it takes a second for it to soak in. So if you're on YouTube, hit me up in the comment. We can talk, we can chat. Please feel free to ask your question. Yes. You gotta be quiet. It's not a lecture. I like to have a conversation because I don't like people talking at me. I want to talk with you. I want to talk to you. So if I'm saying something you're not sure about, hell, even if you want to, let me see, join me next week and come up, I can definitely do that too. But let me finish here. Okay, blissful. Mm-hmm. Some become spiritual teachers. Others work anonymously for the betterment of mankind. A few become great geniuses in their respective fields and make major contributions to the society. To society. So when we start understanding ourselves from the inside, we're able to give services to the people, to the planet, lovingly, lovingly. So when we do that, we're able to receive it back lovingly. Let me see what else. Okay. Perception at the level of 600 and above is sometimes reported as occurring in slow motion, suspended in time and space. Though nothing is stationary, all is alive and radiant. When you have a higher perspective, you look at stuff differently. You look at stuff beyond space and time, beyond the form. You're not looking. You're looking at the invisible before it comes visible. It's making more sense to you on a vibrational level. Um, Although this world is the same world as the one seen by others, it becomes conditionally flowing, evolving in the exponential or coordinating evolutionary dance in which signification and source are overwhelming. Sometimes it's so overwhelming, I have to actually sit and pause and allow myself just to be so I can feel the reality of, wow, I'm truly liberating my body from my mind. Sometimes when I go through this, it's like the that lower vibration that's under 200 kind of fights back because it wants to get your attention back. That lower vibration under 200, it needs some petty situations to feed on, and it's going to trigger you. And if it triggers you, or activates something you never quite dealt with or looked at, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. If you're not used to sitting and breathing and releasing, it's going to tear you up because you're thinking, because I have that thought so close to my mind, that is who I am. Like I asked you, how's that voice inside your head talking to you? How does that voice inside your head sound? Like, do you have somebody to speak to when that voice is being disrespectful, telling you your life doesn't matter? You should go ahead and just kill yourself. Yeah. When when you go to feel them vibrations, it's best to not sit still. Do not engage and try to see where it's coming from. That's a trap. When you soon as do, that energy gonna grab you and snatch you down that dark hole, and now you're gonna feel all funky and icky because you're not truly healing with the root. You're acting like you are, but you're not. What are you reading? How are you breathing? Are you truthfully allowing yourself to feel what you feel so you can release it and heal from it? I am. Got tired of listen. When you sick and tired of being sick and tired and you want comfort with in your own skin and you keep having a good time and you can't, you're a prisoner inside your body, minus the handcuff. So you're a prisoner to your thoughts. You are the sum total of the energy that you allow your mind to entertain. With that being said, okay, where we are here. Um, the awesome, this awesome revelation takes place non-rationally, so that there is an infinite silence in the mind, which has stopped conceptualizing. It stops conceptualizing in the mind once your perception is above 600, because you're no longer holding a lower perception that has a invisible contract with lower vibration that keeps dragging you to so-called traumatic situations. When my perspective became over 600, when a situation came up, I was able to be the calmness within the storm and allow myself to see the core to release myself from that. Yeah, it might have you like the flu-like symptoms. Like my dude Paul, each year on his birthday, he said he had flu-like symptoms. I said, bro, do you think that that could be your body actually releasing old toxins, old belief systems? Because your body releases old belief systems, it almost feels like you can have like flu-like symptoms. I grow through this, but I recognize what it is. It's that it's that physical body trying to trigger you physically. It's that apologize. It's that lower vibration trying to trigger you physically to think something's wrong with you, so you stop that work you're doing the healing. Do not stop. If you stop, that energy will become stagnated and stay there. You have to keep moving, even if it's an inch at a time. Meaning you can get up, go outside, and walk around the block. Don't sit still. That's not good at all. That which is witnessing and that which is witnessed takes the same identity. The observer dissolves into the landscape and becomes equally the observed. You see that? It equally leads, so there's no difference. There's no duality. There's no, okay, I'm the observer being observed. No. Everything melts into one. Then when I speak about synchronicity, where when it's synchronicity, it happens simultaneously, where we having a conversation, our lower frequency and our higher frequency is speaking at the same time. It's not a cause and effect. So once we raise our perception, we come out of cause and effect and we go into synchronicity. Synchronicity said again, that which is witnessed and that which is that which, let me start over. That which is witnessing and that which is witnessed takes on the same identity. The observer dissolves into the landscape and becomes equally the observed. That we're not putting ourselves in part, we're completely whole. The observer dissolves into the observed and they become equally. So we're not cutting ourselves in part, we're coming back whole holistically. Holistic means I'm dealing with myself, spirit, mind, and body. The holistic approach, the whole approach at healing and releasing those vibrations. Um, where did I stop at? Okay, everything is connected to everything else by the presence whose power is infinite. It's exquisitely gentle, yet solid as a rock. Exquisitely gentle, but solid as a rock because unconditional love is never changes, always the same. That's why we at 600, which is peace. Now, this is where, any questions, any comments? Let's pause. Let's see what's going on here. Let me get a heat check. Where your energy at? With this book club, what initiated that was this time to have a spiritual clubhouse where we can meet at least once a week via in person or internet, same thing. But have a place where we use our vocabulary and charge in to someone that's a non-judgmental zone without the proper information. Because we definitely gonna judge, but have the proper information while you're judging. Don't judge from your emotions. Do a little research and go from there. And then when we do decide to judge from a very compassionate standpoint to raise that conscience of that person that you're judging, because 9 times out of 10, the same thing you're judging in them resides in you. Check the room, see what's going on here. Okay. Thank you for your comments, Salima. All right. So now, how y'all with time? We good? 7:30. 7:30. 7:30, man. This wow. Hmm. When was the last time that you truly sat back and thought about how wonderful your life is? How how you evolved and changed so much? How different situations came up. You had no idea how it was gonna happen, but some kind of way it made it through. It's that thinking, baby. We can't have that stinking thinking. Stinking thinking brings stinking thoughts. You follow me? We want to be able to raise our vibration by being aware of where our consciousness is trying to be led. With the book Power versus Force, it helps us from an energetic level based on numbers where we should be at. If you're below 200, don't look down on yourself, but at least read, understand what am I growing through that keeps me at level 175, which is foolish pride, or keeps me at 100, which is fear. That's why I come in at. It's free. Go to the website, namaste.com. You can sign up for a 15-minute or 30-minute free consultation and allow me to help you see it. I'm not charging you to release you. I don't want to point you in the right direction. And once you feel comfortable and committed to moving forward, then we can exchange currency, set up a plan. But right now, I didn't want you to be able to evaluate what you got going on. Right here, namaste.com, it's an evaluation with 7 different questions that each physical behavior resides with a chakra that might be clogged. Look at yourself, see what's going on, read it, get back to me on that small commercial break. So give me like 30 seconds. We're going to a small commercial break and we're going to come back. All right. So get your questions, your comments, and just give me 30 seconds. I'll be coming back in 30 seconds. Peace. Oh, and we're back. Thank you for staying. Now, last level that we're on, I guess it's called a fight lot. So let me show it to you. Since it's fell out, it want to be shown. My Reiki card. Thanks to it. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. You know, I love one thing I love about Reiki is the principles just for the day of an attitude of gratitude. Just for the day I would not worry. Just for the day I would not anger. Just for the day I would do all of my work honestly. Just for the day I would show love and respect to all living things. Simple principle. Simple principle, but do have a discipline enough to stick by it. Sometimes I might kill a little mosquito and I get up like, dang, I killed that, but oh, I just did it just now. But becoming aware of what we're doing, how you supposed to vibrate with the divinity essence that's in everything that's here. That's it might be walking and talking, but it still has the essence of the most high because if we think about it, we're tapping into that 5D that brings it into this 3D. So next one. Woo. Mm. Energy level 700 to 1,000, which is enlightenment. This is the level of great ones of history who originated the spiritual patterns that multitudes have followed throughout the ages. All are associated with divinity, with which they are often identified. This is the level of powerful inspiration. These beings set in place attractive energy fields that influence all of mankind down through the ages. It's that thought of thinking that we're single, that we're disconnected, that throws us off. Every thought that we have resonates to an M field. And so every time you keep thinking it, it resonates and gets stronger and stronger. So what do you resonate that drawn out of that M field that you're connecting with? What is it? And why not only what is it, but why is it? Why is it that I'm continuing to to why is it I'm continuing to pull information down that way? Because some kind of way I have a hidden contract at lower vibration that I keep feeding into it. So we're just working on it. Once again, don't beat yourself up. Just become aware of what is growing on from the inside out. Where did I stop off at? Okay. All are associated with divinity. That's, I read that. Must be read it again. All are associated with divinity, with which they are all identified. This is the level of powerful inspiration. These being said, in place attractive fields and influence all of the mankind down through the ages. At this level, there is no longer the experience of an individual personal self. Read it again. At this level, there is no longer the experience of an individual personal self. No longer a individual or personal self as separate from others. Rather, there is an identification of self with consciousness as divinity. Read that again. I don't think y'all quite felt me on that. At this level, there is no longer the experiencing of an individual personal self as separated from others. We don't feel like as if we're individual separate from others. Rather, there is an identification of self with consciousness and divinity. You're plugging in and be like, you know what? I'm not by myself. It was an illusion or a perspective. Hey, Bird, how you doing? It was an illusion or a perspective that I'm not connected with consciousness. And once we raise our vibrational, we truly see at the core, we are not separate. We are not alone. We're connected with divinity essence. The essence of divinity gave us the right to be here because we woke up this morning. Let me see. The unmanifesting is experienced as self beyond mind. This transcendence, this transcendence of the ego also serves by example to teach others how it can eventually be accomplished. You heard that? This transcendence of the ego also serves by example to teach others how it can eventually be accomplished. This is the peak of evolution of consciousness in the human realm. So you see what they're saying? You can do it, and people are watching the shows to see how you did it. Is it simple? No. It's definitely doable, but you have to commit yourself every day that you're going to evolve 1 inch at a time and release any resistance from past trauma. You're going to own Anything that you did or think you did, anything you think you happened to affect yourself and other people. Yeah, it's plenty of times I think about the stuff I did when I was low vibration in relationships, not not keen on myself, how I hurt women, how I misused them. I apologize. Every woman I was in a relationship with, I definitely owe you an apology. I was a hurt man, not knowing I was going through hurt issues, been going through separation issues as a child, being 9 years old, in a child trauma. All the things that we have as men, we don't speak about it, and we lean on women and throw them off. Men, it's truly time for us to step to the plate, take full responsibility for our bullshit, and correct it. Yes, sometimes women are a lot more spiritually in tune than we are, but the beautiful gift is if you dedicate yourself to evolving and look on the inside, you can catch up with her and help her evolve even further. Because of what the universe was made was the female energy was developing the universe and everything else, while the masculine energy sat there and made sure she was safe and secure while she was creating. Are we doing that now within ourselves, within our yin and our yang within ourselves, within our masculine and feminine energy? Men, are we being overly masculine and not being flexible enough? And females, are we being overly masculine and not being flexible enough? When I say connect with your feminine, no, the feminine energy, I'm simply speaking about you being a lot more flexible. You being a lot more open minded and not being so selfish. A sacral chakra, which is the second, and our heart chakra, which is the fourth chakra, if those are closed, we can be very bitter. We can become angry if we're not healing our chakra doing that proper work. And this book, Power versus Force, it helps you evaluate yourself from an energetic level based on numbers. So it's not you. You're able to see what you're growing through outside of yourself. To me, this was like mind blowing. So I had to share. As we continue, make sure I'm in the right place here. Great teachers uplift the masses and raise the level of awareness of all humankind. To have such vision is called grace, and the gift it brings is infinite peace, described as inevitable, beyond words. So when you stop being selfish and you use to have such vision is called grace. I'm read again. Great teachings uplift the masses and raise the level of awareness of all humanity. To have such vision is called grace. And the gift it brings is infinite peace. When I got out of my own way, you know what? I'm gonna put these drugs down, get the street, and I'm gonna heal 1,000 times more than the people that I killed spiritually. When I was in the streets doing what I was doing, I wasn't killing people physically. I was killing people spiritually. I was causing them to have a spiritual collapse because of finances I wanted, because of a drug. My best friend was a devil. So I'm very comfortable with the devil. I had to become comfortable with the Most High because the Most High, once again, is the highest energy attractive field that's possible, which is formless that was here before space and time. Once I made a commitment to heal as many people as I was killing spiritually, oh my goodness, it became grace. The same way people are giving me stuff in the streets, I'll get stuff in the spiritual world. Portugal, spiritual retreat 7 days. One of my clients paid for half of that for me. Montana, I paid nothing for that. I had a client that went to spiritual retreat and seen how much it will help me evolve. But the universe will open up doors for me to become that example, showing you how to change. Showing you how to change. Yeah, it's possible. But you have to learn to be uncomfortable and self-examine what happened in your childhood and release that lower belief system that made you think you were traumatized. Yes, something happened to you, but you're not traumatized because at your essence divinity, it can't be traumatized. It can't be shook. Once we raise our perspective. Let me see. Okay, at this level, realization, the sense of one's existence transcends all time and all individuality. There is no longer an identification with the physical body as me. There's no longer identifying the physical body as me. and therefore its fate is of no concern. The body is seen as merely a consciousness through the intervention of mind. Its prime value, that of communication. The self merges back into the self. This is the level of non duality or completely oneness. There is no localization of consciousness. Awareness is everywhere equally present. Everywhere equally present. This is enlightenment, 6 to 700. So when you get out of your mind and you connect back, when you get out your mind and connect with the divine, you're no longer concerned with your body because your body belongs to the universe. And once you give your body back to the universe, you're going to automatically hmm, reintroduce yourself to that higher level of thinking because you're no longer thinking about me. It's a we. It's more about wellness now. There's no such thing as me. That's very selfish. That's very egotistical. That's very righteous. Righteous is a low vibration. It's under 200. We don't want to be righteous. That's not what we want to be. That's why we're going to speak about the human attitude because we have certain lower vibration adjectives that we're using that keeps us tethered to lower vibration. Let me see what's else. Am I missing it here? Great works are depicted in the video. No, no, no. This is the act of the transition of this energy field to the consciousness of mankind. This level of divine grace calibrates up to 1,000. The highest level attained by any person who has lived recorded history, to wit, the great avatars from the title Lord is appropriate. Lord Krishna, Lord Buddha, Lord Yeshua. All of these resonate on 1,000. If they can do it, we can do it too. 'Cause remember, the purpose is showing others how to do this. It's not selfish. I understood once I was able to use that lower vibration to help me fuel myself to know it, learn about myself, I had to teach people. I started this book years ago. Like at the time, it wasn't quite resonating with me because I wasn't ready to release my hidden contract that I had with the lower vibration. This helps me get out of the 200. You follow me? Any questions, any comments, any feedback? To my hi, Ruben. What's up, Slim? How you doing, Goddess? Okay. So this is the chapter that's very juicy for me right here. And it's something that we think we're saying that's higher vibrations, and they're not. And once again, it's not judging. It's just the point of being aware of where we're allowing our consciousness to be affiliated with. So this is chapter 9. Make sure any comments, any statement. Okay, okay. Now this chapter here kind of I ain't gonna say it took me by surprise, but this Power versus Force isn't a chapter book, meaning I don't have to start from chapter 1 and follow in sequential order. You look at the context and see what chapter resonate with what's going on and go to that. That's what I do. So the purpose of this is understanding what's the core of your belief system, where did your perspective come from, and how to change and reevaluate that. But it's all about our attitude. So chapter 9, page 167, 163, I apologize. 163. It reminds me so much of being Joe with having a house, book studies in the house. Thank you for that. Every experience I have, I recontextualize and realize it was something for me. Let me get a message in myself. That was so beautiful. So chapter 9, I love this right here because chapter 9 speaks about the power pattern of human attitude, the ability to differentiate between high and low energy patterns is a matter of perception and discrimination that most of us learn by spiritual trial and error. Failure, suffering, and eventually sickness results from the influence of weak patterns. In contrast, success, happiness, and health proceed from powerful, attractive patterns. You heard that? Read that again. Failure, suffering, and eventually sickness result from the influence of weak patterns. In contrast, spoke about kinesiology. If I think positive, my muscles are stronger. If I think negative, a lower vibration become weaker. Re-emphasizing again. Therefore, it is well worth taking a few minutes to scan the list of contrasting patterns below, which have been researched and calibrated to determine the respective criteria. This listing is an educational tool that operates from the principle of closure. I'm read again. This listing is an educational tool that operates from the principle of closure. Reflection on the many contrasting pairs of qualities can initiate a consciousness raising process. This is all about raising your consciousness, becoming more aware. Um, okay, so that one gradually becomes aware of patterns operate in relationships, business affairs, and all the various interactions that make up the fabric of life. On the left are adjectives describe powerful positive patterns which calibrate above 200. On the right are weak negative patterns which calibrate below 200. When we say positive and negative, we're not judging them, but we're labeling them actually where they are. There's no good or bad, right or wrong. We're just collaborating under 200 or above 200. Not putting emotional is bad or good, but it's showing us where we are. If you don't have a book, let me show you how it looks. See right here? It says on the right side, it's a higher vibration. I don't know if you can see that. On the left side, it's a lower vibration. It's an adjective that describes something. So one that kind of shook me was, let's say one I know off straight offhand is if you're a positive high vibration, you're gifted. If someone calls you lucky, that's actually a low vibration that calibrates under 200 because there's no such thing as luck. When divinity is at the core of it, it's you're gifted. Everybody gifted, but we're not resonant with it because we'll let other people describe what giftedness is. Let me read a positive adjective is abundant. The opposite of that is excessive. So he's like abundant is having a plethora running around, but what's excessive? That means excessive means you're doing it way too much. Way too abundance is it's never running out, but you're excessive, you're constantly doing it over and over. That's not abundance. That's like the definition of insanity. You're excessively going back to dysfunctional relationship time and time again. That's not abundance. That's excessiveness. That's excessive. You're excessively putting yourself in a harmful or traumatic situation. That's not a wonderful situation to be in. Acceptance, rejection. That seems pretty kind of obvious. Admitting and denying, um, agreeable or condescending. Condescending. Whoa, what's that? Like, yeah, I guess condescending. Appreciative, envious, approving, or critical. This is one that kind of took me up a line by it. You're either attractive or you're being seductive. Attractive is above 200, but you're being seductive. You have something in your mind. You're trying to seduce me to do something that's not quite my will. That's low vibration. Um, aware or preoccupied. If you are aware, you are present. You're looking at me right now as I'm talking. You're seeing what's going on. You are aware. But if you're preoccupied, your mind is one thousandth of a second in front of you, wondering what's coming next. That's a sign of an ordinary mind. A more evolved mind is able to be present in this second, not wondering what's coming next. Um, balance or extreme. Like, are you balanced or are you extreme with something? We speak about sex. Are you having healthy sex or is it extreme? Every time you feel a lower vibration or you don't want to feel some type of way, are you run to sex? Are you running to drugs? Are you running to drinking? That's in excess. But balance. There's nothing wrong with a with a balance of whatever you're doing, balancing it. Um, huh, beautiful or glamorous. When you're naturally beautiful, that's one thing, but you're being glamorous, you put way too much on it. You're trying to be glamorous. That's not natural. That's not organic. You're overdoing it. That's below 200. So just stay beautiful, baby. Stop trying to be glamorous. Being and having. Being is above 200, but having, that's below 200. Because now, if you're trying to have something, that means it's not yours. It's not meant to be. The divine essence is saying it's not time for you to have it. So now you're trying to have something. Um, Believing or insisting. So when we're meditating or doing things or praying, are we believing in what's going on, or are we insisting that something we are insisting something's happening? How can we insist something to happen? Are we speaking as if it already happened already? Question. Um, Brilliant or are you being clever? Brilliant is above 200. You're being clever. That's not me taking a shortcut. You trying to cheat people. Don't be clever. Be that wise person. Be brilliant. Um, Carefree or are you frivolous? Frivolousness. Oh, come on. Challenge or impeding? Are you challenging somebody to be great or are you impeding their way to the great? Because impeding, that's a lower vibration. We don't want to impede, we want to cheer people on. Cherishing or prizing? Are you cherishing? Are you I've never I lost my place. Hold up, wait one motherfucking minute. Um Cheerful cherishing, mean you appreciate something, or you prizing, like your whole worth of what is prizing, what your job is, what your title is, what your relationship is. Are you prizing over it? Or are you cherishing it? Are you not being or you don't want to become stagnated and become comfortable with the other person? A lot of people become stagnated. We get that man or that woman and we stop doing what we did to get that person's attention. And now we become stagnated, it becomes boring. And now y'all think then now cheating begins because now we have actually done something out of a form of emptiness within, and we're expecting something outside of ourselves to fill that void. That's not very healthy. Forgiving, are you forgiving or are you condemning? That's very powerful. Forgiving is above 200. But if you're condemning everything, every time somebody come up, you're condemning it. You've been that cumulative cloud. Every time somebody says something positive, you running on it. Don't do that. You need to be forgiving. That sounds like also your heart chakra is closed because you can be very petty. You can become very bitter, very resentful if that heart chakra is closed. So be very careful. You're condemning things. Are you holistic or analytic? Holistic meaning I'm looking at myself from the inside out, looking spirit, mind, and body, or am I analytic meaning I'm gonna type in Google and say, "Oh, I got a headache." You're just looking from the outside. You're looking at it from the spiritual perspective. Are you looking at it from the emotional perspective, and then look at the physical perspective? That's holistic. Are you just being analytical, taking out certain parts, not dealing with the whole you, the trauma, the letdown, the disbelief, the low self vibration talk to yourself, the mental health issues, the environment you in. So many things can contribute to that. Um, Impartial or righteous. If you're impartial, it's not always about you being right or people saying you're well. That's impartial. But if you're righteous, you're always trying to be right. You always have to be your way. Everybody has an opinion. Nobody's opinion is overvalued. Nobody else's opinion. I know better than you. I have some research. You have research. Let's come together, write research together, and see what we come up with. Stop trying to be so righteous. Um, Let me see. Nurturing or draining? Are you nurturing your relationships or are you draining your relationships? Are you giving whoever you're dealing with enough space to be themselves? Are you allowing them to be who they are? Are you hoping that you can persuade them to be what you want them to be? I'm just asking. Because sometimes we do that. Sometimes we, that's what I'm looking for. What did I ask for? Oh, that's why I want to join the room right here. How we let them join? Oh, I done messed up. So, thank you for joining. Thank you for getting with us. So, one man engineer, y'all give me a second, please, please. I'm just so grateful that I have people tuning in to understand that the human patterns, where their attitudes come from, why. Let's just pause for a second and just breathe. I actually meant to start this with a meditation to settle in, but I was so excited to get implemented. So let's just pause. It's a lot of information and kind of recenter ourselves to allow our ego that might not be quite acceptable to what we're saying because we're releasing from the low 200 frequency. We start trying to be righteous. We're not trying to be clever. We want to become aware. We want to become not preoccupied in our thinking. And now that doesn't allow us to be here for inspiration, for insight. Hmm. We got them tuning in, y'all. Okay. So just a quick recap on what we're speaking about here. We're speaking about the determinant between human behavior and the power patterns and human attitude. This isn't and the stuff I'm speaking about is not a walk in the park. You have to truly sit and examine yourself and take credit for what's going on. Your part, what you did. Other day, my relationship once again from 10 years ago. Namaste, Goddess. Thanks for tuning in. My relationship from 10 years ago with my goddess, when my son was very young, I still got residue from that because the abandonment issues I had from my great grandfather passed. And how many times us as men, alpha males, we not prone to speaking about our emotions, our setbacks, our dysfunctional relationships, and trauma that happened to us as kids. If you sit back and look at me, I didn't have a father figure, so that threw me off. A lot of women don't have father figures. I throw them off. So now they get a dude that they're trying to almost replace that father energy with for that attention. And then that dude doesn't maintain what you kind of make them do you're not aware of, feel some type of way. That's why we need to have open communication about what am I expecting from the relationship that we're having. Let's communicate about it. Let's understand truthfully a relationship is a made up word from the ego that gives you some type of ownership to something outside yourself. We want to come back in. We want to start focusing on the outside, on other people. That's called being worldly. Look for something outside of you to save you. Because if you look for something outside of us to save us, and once it leaves, gone, we don't think we could be saved. It's on the inside. What created you is still there. You're just not paying attention because you're under the illusion of you're not enough. You're under illusion of God is the Most High isn't in you. It's in you, but you have to give it time to resonate. This helps a whole lot because it speaks about your feelings and your emotions, which are hidden behind your behaviors. Namaste, Goddess. Got somebody tuning in late. Questions, comments, feedback, anything caught y'all off guard that you weren't aware about, something that you need to be reminded about. Because sometimes we could know something, need a small reminder. Talk to me, people. Lines are open. Where you at? Where you energy at? Holla at me. We have 15 more minutes. Let's open the floor for comments. Let's open up the floor for any feedback. I mean, where your energy at? Who's in the room right here? We got Salima saying excellent content. Thank you for that. Yes, yes, yes. And so it's so lovely to be able to have an idea from my mind, implement it, and to get feedback from people that it actually helps. So I'm doing this not just for the likes or the views, but to show you the energy pattern, how to free yourself from lower vibration beliefs that not you, that has you hypnotized, that have you caught up in the matrix. The matrix, anything that has you believing that something outside you is going to save you. It's on the inside. We have to take that time, we have to take that space to sit with and allow the marinate. See where we are here? Okay, what we got here? We have, and with power versus force, for me, it really helps take, okay, oh, pardon me. This is it's so deep, got me burping. This is from YouTube, uh, the Nail Guard. It says, how do you deal with trauma while in relationship? Wow, that's a deep question there. So the way, see, dealing with trauma and healing for trauma are two different things. If you're in a relationship with somebody that's traumatized, you become aware of it and you can truly only heal yourself. The other person isn't guaranteed to heal. So if you're on that healing path and you're open to it and ready to receive it, and your partner isn't, you got to calibrate on two different levels. It's always going to be a type of unbalance because you're calibrating on one level and he or she will calibrate on a different level. But she might not be ready for, or she might be ready for, but you're trying to probably coerce them on to become aware. They're not aware for a reason. They're traumatized. It's a mental belief that they have that has them traumatized. So until they come out of that traumatizing phase, there's nothing you can do. Like a therapist told me, whatever's on somebody's mind, what has that male or female traumatized, until they become aware of it, they can't move past it. But if you're in a relationship and he or she wants to heal, you gotta come up with keywords to speak about. If you're doing something that triggers a past trauma, that whoever's triggered, the other person sits and allows them to express how they feel without gauging, without judging, without pointing that finger, and allow them to get out of it to purge it because that's something we're not used to. It takes patience to do that, but it's definitely doable. Um, Also, we got something from a Facebook. Let me see where we are. It says, also there are people's parents. Also there are people raised in two parents household who have abandonment issues as well. Oh my God, yes, because our parents can only replicate what happened to them. Yes, thank you. That's so true because our parents can only. Let me say I want to say this. Most of our parents aren't doing spiritual work to release traumatic situations. So most of our parents are just dealing with how they feel because they see their parent deal with it thick and state. And you can have a parent there that's still absent mentally that's not helping you. But that's very powerful. So with that, that environment showed you what you don't want. So now with you, you have to be able to recontextualize that and break it down piece by piece and realize what you do want from it. Because you had a very good example of what something dysfunctional looked like. So if you come close to it, you can resonate with it because you had experience of it. But you have to be faithful and truthful to what you say you're gonna do. If you're gonna leave the situation, leave it. Only when you don't leave it, that person's actions and vocabulary change from a for a continuous time because that spiritual work is so easy to relapse if you're not continuing doing that work. Did I answer your question, Goddess? That's a very beautiful statement. the nail garden. Does that make sense to you? How do you deal with trauma while in a relationship? And after a while, you gotta say if you're gonna deal with it or you're not, because it's not guaranteed that he or she is going to change or evolve. They can stay traumatic. Now it's up to you. You gotta ask yourself, how long are you willing to be in a traumatic relationship if you don't see it changing? So now that's something that you gotta do because you got in your mind, you got time involved, you got emotions involved, you might have finances involved, how I move out by myself. So it's so many small variables that can be involved in that. So it's a very meticulous situation to get yourself out of. It's not like an overnight situation. You got to get straight with yourself and the other person. If y'all stay together, that's even more because y'all share that space. That's why I don't want to live with nobody else again because you can come visit, I come visit you, but we're going through something traumatic. It won't be in that same house, so we have enough time and space to kind of separate ourselves and see a different perspective. Hey y'all, here come y'all. And we got some beautiful questions. We got two people that asked, why you over there? When I know. So she came right on time too, didn't she? Oh, my bad. To bring the light. So we got two wonderful questions that just came in. Let me share the camera, y'all. You smell like cotton candy.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
So let me help her get in the picture. Guess what, y'all? I'm no longer all alone. So, so we got a question from the nail guard that says, "How you need to say the warm up? You sure? Don't be lying now.
I'm good.
Oh, you just smile on camera. She is lying, y'all.
I got this.
Okay, okay, no pressure. So the first thing was how the nail gunner asked, how do you deal with trauma while in a relationship?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. The question needs a second, y'all.
How to deal with trauma while in a relationship?
Yes.
Um, I heard you answer it.
How you heard me answer it? When?
Um,
Oh, you're gonna. Oh.
So become aware. You have to be aware, of what's going on. But yeah, recognizing that that you do have trauma, being aware, like you said, and recognizing that that person have trauma because it's y'all child cells, y'all little cells that's going against each other. I want to make a prime example, but I'm not gonna do it on camera. But anyway,
okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I will, but
I know okay. But
not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, but nobody's going to win in a relationship unless they both understand that they're seeing from different glasses, that they're seeing from their trauma view, and not their healed side. So they're gonna consistently trigger each other all the time.
You heard that? You said constantly or sometimes? Constantly. Hey, how you know that?
Because I've been there.
Ooh, I didn't want to hear you say that.
I've been there. And then you take things personal that is not personal. It's that person and their situation, what's going on. But you feel it because it's triggering your trauma. So now you acting out based off of, what happened to you. And you think that person is trying to do something to you now. And then now y'all both, oh, you against me, you against me. And yeah, trauma versus trauma.
Yeah. And most of it come from your mama. That trauma.
And daddy.
And daddy. Oh, you heard that too, honey. Daddy trauma. Oh, okay. Because I didn't have no father in my life. So I don't. And so we didn't have no father in my life. And my great grandfather would have been that unconditional love and middle of my life. And now all of a sudden, that took away back what you said. Well, you got relationship issues. Yeah, I do, but I ain't with a woman. It's my great granddad. So it's a difference. You know what I'm saying?
I say it like that, though.
I say it like that. So most times, this is how I started. We feel like when most times people have relationship issues, it's with a woman. It could be with your father, it could be with your great grand, anything. So we gotta look at it from a wider scope, not making it so personal.
Yeah.
When we think that personal, we come from the ordinary mind, which is very limited.
Mhm.
We got another statement. Also, there are people raised in two-parent households who have abandonment issues as well. How's that resonate with you?
The parents or the
Yeah.
people who
Also,
was
there are
raised,
people.
who
You
was
see a
raised,
picture. You need to read it for yourself. So you get it.
children.
Yeah.
Also, there are people raised in two-parent households who have a yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
The parents could even be together just for the children or survival reasons, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and anything can trigger abandonment from what we were reading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be something simple as the example that you use with a mother leaving a child at a daycare, or in my case, my mom left me, came to pick me up, 8 hours after school finished?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I probably was like sixth grade. Was that like 11?
Mm-hmm.
Something like
Mm-hmm.
that, 11, 12?
Right.
Yeah. So you can definitely have abandonment issues from something very minuscule, and you carrying around that abandonment energy. And when someone when someone triggers that abandonment, then you drawing away or losing your damn mind, or however you react to that trigger.
You draw back in the shell.
Or you draw back in the shell, and it could be something as simple as
Stop saying simple.
Okay.
Because I'm in the quantum field, it's small stuff.
But again,
you think it's simple, but if you think it's simple, it's big me. What you mean? It ain't simple to me. It's you. Mm-hmm. It's not like you minimize it when somebody's going through. Simple. Yeah, something simple as I just said, but if you said something to me, it could trigger something away from the kids. So to me, it's not simple.
This is a prime example.
Right. Right. I simply said, but if you pissed off and upset about something, it's simple.
Right.
Or something.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Continue. Simply said, you're going to put your whole thing. Me? Yeah, I threw it out. Yeah.
Wait. Okay. Something, it could be an example of your spouse going out, right, with their friends, okay, and you feel abandoned. So then that thought process, your thoughts start going and going and going. Well, oh, they want to meet somebody else. Oh, they don't want to be with me, but I ain't good enough. Oh, it's because I can't wait. Oh, it's because I'm this or I'm that. And then chain of events. So by the time he get home, he don't know what he walking into, or she don't know what she walking into. So yeah.
So I heard that. Does that kind of also kind of like insecurity too?
Oh yeah, okay. Most definitely. Most definitely insecurity. And you could get insecurities from abandonment too.
Dang.
Because you feel like maybe something was wrong with you while you got abandoned.
So this abandonment word, it's like compounding different fragments of your brain. So it could be abandonment, it could be fear, it could be grief, and it could come low self-esteem. So this abandonment is we look at it as, oh, it simply happened, but it's huge.
It's very huge, and I didn't realize it till the other day, and I'm like, oh, so many things come from that abandonment energy, like so much issue, so much argument, so much thought, like just feel it, and it makes you not be able to love conditionally because you're taking everything so personal in a relationship to where you can't conditionally love that person. You've taken it personal, and that person simply needs something from you or needs to be alone or have some space, and you're taking it personal. You're like, oh, what's wrong with me? You know, and you're not conditionally loving that person, understanding that that person needs space. So yeah.
Wow.
Very. I realized just how big abandonment was. Like very, very, very big.
So what situation presents itself for you to experience how abandonment affects you?
Let's see. I believe probably almost all my relationships.
You said, but most recently, something made you realize how deep your abandonment was.
No, when we was reading, when we was reading about the different things of abandonment.
Oh, last week. I see what
Yeah,
you're saying. I see
yeah,
what you're saying. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
When we
okay.
was reading, and then just because I'm aware of it, it's like now I could put things to it. Oh, that's from abandonment. That's from abandonment. That's from abandonment. Like,
Right, right, right. Because abandonment gives us grief. And when you're grieving, like we don't once again one thing, grieving for people who die. When somebody leaves you, you're in a form of grief, but it's turned in within yourself. So now that grieving can resemble almost depression because of where you're feeling. And when a young child is grieving and not getting no type of psychological help or psychological tool to get rid of that, you grow up as a grieving mentality and a relationship you're in, you cannot end you with. That makes sense?
it makes a lot.
Mm. So being aware of remember in the quantum field, it's the stuff that we think is so small that exasperated gets so big. So we gotta look at the so-called petty things. And we can have a small roof leak, right? You can catch it early and have no damage. But if that roof leak go for years without being addressed, you got mildew issue, all the issues that come behind something very small like that. So don't let the butterfly effect. Let me see if I can say it. The law of initial contact. No, I don't know.
Yeah, you just said it like a week or two ago.
No, I said a week ago. The law of initial conditions based on the shortcut to butterfly effect. The law of initial conditions. The other part is ain't coming through right now. But yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. But it's basically an inch a day. An inch a day, change that energy will help you push through to a higher frequency level. So what we're doing is we're in the process of raising your consciousness. That's when you came in, we're doing chapter 9, power patterns of human attitude. Remember we spoke about that?
Oh, the chart.
Yeah, another chart. Yeah, so left and right. So I call out a couple that make sense to me. You want to read a couple that make sense to you before we get out of here? Okay. Well, you got your own book. Oh, well. Mm-hmm. So see something that kind of resonate with you that you thought might have been a positive attitude, but it's actually a negative attitude.
That I thought was a positive.
Yes. Well, that well, actually one that was a high vibration over 200 compared to was under 200.
Okay, so wait, aesthetic and artsy. So what aesthetic? I mean, some people be aesthetic and pleasing, like very nice aesthetic, and then artsy. I don't get that one.
Some of them I don't get neither.
Yeah. All right. So oh, this the negative side. Okay.
The right, so the right lower vibration. Yeah.
I gotta meditate on this one. Okay. Attractive and seductive. All right. So cheerful and manic.
Whoa.
So manic is the negative under 200, and cheerful is over 200. So manic, like, is that kind of like, I know you could be manic depressed. So is that like?
I can answer this for you. So manic meaning like you can be a manic person, but you're super happy, and it seems like you're cheerful, but you're being manic, right? Yeah, so when you're cheerful, one thing you're manic. I sometimes go manic depression. I seem so happy, so cheery, it's a form of depression. When you're cheerful, it's something totally different. Because it's with all the way it's on the inside. Manic, you're trying to make yourself feel better. So you manic depression, yes, totally different. That's a good one you pick right there. Manic depression, not low vibration. It's so how you happy here, happy there, happy here. Yeah, you get home like blow your goddamn brain. Oh, this resonate with me. Considerate and indulgent. Ooh. I can be very indulgent at that. So consider. So what? So considerate is on the left side. That's higher. That's the higher vibration, right? And indulgent on the right hand side. Yeah. So overindulgent. Wow. So we think like I'm indulging in it, but are you being considerate? That's the word. Considerate. See, so am I being considerate? Meaning, am I worrying about other people's person got going on? Am I concerned with their time? But from this indulgence, I don't give a fuck what they got going on. I need what I need, right? I need it now. Dope fiend. Dope fiend. Um, it's easy.
detached and removed.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
What does that sound like you? The detach, no, remove on the left hand side
Detached is on the left hand side.
and remove on the right.
And removed
Okay.
is on the right.
What's your take on that? Because I always do that.
Let's see.
Take your time.
So below is removed seems forced.
Okay.
Removed seems forced. Detached seems that maybe it happened organically.
Okay, I can see that part. So when I read it, when you remove yourself, it's like you put that wall. Like, okay, like I'm not present no more. I remove myself from it. But when I come detached, I'm still listening, but I'm still emotionally involved. When I remove myself, it's like you talking like, man, I don't know what I remember. I don't know what you got going on. But if I do the test, like, okay, I see what you're saying. What's going on? So I'm not involved emotionally. So that's what it is. I don't remove myself from the situation. I just detach.
I've been doing that.
Yes, detach.
I like that.
Yes, detach. Like don't remove. Like detach yourself from an energetic standpoint. Now you're able to heal with it. Like that's a beautiful.
Not spending that energy.
You're not going that shell. You know, I can figure out no, don't remove yourself. And now you're not able to deal with what's in front of you. Okay. 3 minutes. Anything else you want to point out before we get out of here? No rush. Just let you know.
Oh, I'm here.
Yes.
Let's see. Some stuff I got connected on.
Okay. You know who?
Baron.
Oh.
Okay, so
barren mean not having, like butt naked.
Yeah.
The covers are barren. I'm not sure.
It's prolific and barren.
You did there for that.
But this one say ingenious and scheming.
Whoa. Oh, okay, got you. I read about that earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. This one easy, natural and artificial. Observant and suspicious. That's a deep one. Yeah.
How that sound to you?
Which
one on the left hand side? Observant.
Yeah.
And suspicious. So what is it? That looks suspicious to me. That's all by perception. Girl, I'm just right. Suspicious activity. The hell going on? Fuck this motherfucker with both eyes. The third eye and the other eye. So observant is observant without the emotional attachment behind it. Without making conclusion. Right. Of that suspicious energy. And suspicious is just like, so I don't trust it. Something going on. Right. Yeah. So you're removing that. You're removing that emotion from seeing what's going on. You just watch it. Yeah. Yeah, Sheen. Yeah. Anything else stick out to you before we recap what's going on here? Any burning desires? Anything your spirit leading you to? Oh, here? Anywhere. Oh, anywhere. Burning desire. You was at your ear before. You want to try to. Yeah. Any insight you got? Anything you learned? Anything you felt? Yeah. You know, I ain't gonna call them out. I just came from a situation where, you know, somebody who I know, a boyfriend, she jumped on the hood of his car and he told her to get out the car. She didn't get off, and he accelerated, pressed the brakes, and she flew off. Now her foot broke, shoulder, and I'm just like, wow. And I'm detached from the whole situation. I'm listening, but I'm just like, wow. It's just making me see how the like we said, talked about earlier, the two traumas are, it's like getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's like, y'all
go within yourself, somebody gonna kill the other person or something, you know. So I just see that our people do struggle with that a lot, with just our anger, you know, especially our anger in a relationship, you know. So I just want to say to when it comes to people in a relationship, either work on yourself regardless, but work on yourself, and um if it's unbearable, then just go, but work on yourself. Work on yourself regardless. Go within and stop looking at the other person and what they're doing. Go within yourself. Go within. Worry about what's going on in there. And then you'll see things totally different. You'll see it for what it is. That's it.
Yeah. So with that being said, I decided, no, I'm gonna stay and be true to myself. Next week, tune in. I'm letting you know what we talking about. We got going on, but it's gonna get better and better. Be prepared for the moisture, baby, because it's coming. Namaste, thug. Good, yeah. We out of here. Peace. That was sweet.